Here we go.
Yep,
All
yep, yep.
right. Good to have you guys, and good to have you back, Pastor Norman.
Hey,
And
glad to be back.
yeah, and Linda Langdon's in the house. Good to
Yeah.
see
Hey,
you, Linda.
Linda, Linda.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else is gonna pop in here, but we're here,
Yep.
ready to live and live in color.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, we're feeling better, and it turns out I didn't have the flu. I thought I was catching something, but I didn't. I wasn't. I think it was just sinuses or something. I've been working in the bathroom. I think I might have gotten some dust from sanding. And so that's probably all it was. So I'm good. I'm good. Pastor's better. And baby girl's good. So everybody's good.
That is good.
That is good. That is
That is
good. And we've been covered up with leaves, and we just had to pay a young man $300 to for the two of them to go out there and get rid of all those leaves, and they're still
Now they're coming
falling.
back again.
I
good.
know
That's what I was going to say. I know they're coming back.
Yeah.
they're still coming. Yeah, because we still have just a few trees that have some leaves stuck
And
on them.
they back, so we
Yeah,
have to
so
go
before
in again.
Christmas, I know there's going to be some more back there. Yeah, so anyway, we're good. We're good. It's been rainy and today's nice outside. It's a little overcast, but today's nice. How's it down in South Carolina?
It is very cloudy. There's moisture in the air. It's not raining, but it looks like it's about to, but it's not
Yeah,
raining.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and the
how
weather is kind of in the high 60s.
how was your trip?
It was awesome. It was
Huh?
awesome. I truly enjoyed myself, and my Steelers won. They won.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
we had
you look
an
like you were having a
exciting
ball.
time. Uh,
Yeah, you look like you were having fun. I saw you.
yes, we were. We were having fun, and I just spontaneously came on because, of course, we normally do our 11 o'clock broadcast on Sunday, but I did a 10 o'clock that Saturday morning. But while we was in the line, just waiting to go into the stadium, I just spontaneously said, you know what? We've been talking about entering into the promise of rest and
Mm.
about enjoying life. And so I said, I'm gonna just go ahead and go live. And
Yeah,
it had
that's
a
good.
lot of feedback, a lot of
Yeah,
feedback.
yeah. In fact, that's what people like. They like that. They want to see how you live. They
Yes,
really do. They
yes.
do. Hey, Ollie, I'm glad you're in here today.
Hello.
Good to
What's
have
up,
you here.
Oliver?
Oliver. Oliver. Yeah, so yeah, they really want to see how you live.
Hmm.
And I like I said, I posted just a couple of little short things about baby girl and out in yard playing, and man, I got so many. Baby girl was celebrity. She got more hits than we did. And so, that's just the way it is nowadays, I guess, with
Hmm.
social media. People want something that's interesting, really interesting. Yeah.
And not only that, something that is real.
Yeah.
I'm discovering spontaneous is better. When it
Yeah.
comes to
Yeah.
that, like you said, they want to be part of your life, and actually, that was shared with me when I got back, especially on our prayer line, that they really felt like they was there. They were happy to see that the
Hmm.
leaders was having
Yeah.
fun and enjoying life. So they saw us in a whole different light, and that was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Because I know when I watched, and Oliver said he saw you.
I just
Uh,
saw that. What's
yeah.
up, Ali?
I know when I saw you, it felt like that. It did feel like you were there with you. And it was good. I didn't watch the whole thing, but it was really, really good. Really, really
Mhm.
good. I liked it. So you got to do more of that, I guess.
Yes, yes. After that, I said definitely. Some of my broadcasts, I probably just go outside in the yard and just do a
Yeah.
broadcast or whatever.
Yeah.
But
And people
it
aren't
tied
always,
into my messages for this past few months.
yeah, and people aren't always interested in a lesson. They
Exactly.
want inspiration, on the spot inspiration. And it's a new that's a new mode for us.
Hmm.
And so to get into that mode is really a challenge for those of us who've been stuck in a pulpit and teaching a sermon or a lesson. And it's I found that people, you get more hits on social media when you just do something inspirational.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
And then,
And as you and I think we said talked about this before, there's a whole different generation of people.
mhm.
Even those from our generation are kind of adjusting and
They
adapting
are.
to the new norm and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And for
yeah.
all leaders that are considered spiritual leaders, and those once again that's helping people with their lives and so forth, it's going to
Mhm.
bring us to a place where we are more transparent with the people.
And we know as well, and Oliver says our experiences are filled with lessons, and that's right.
Exactly.
When we are doing things, there are lessons involved in it. And I know that there is a lot. Everybody's transient now. Everybody's moving and doing, and they don't want to be stuck within four walls anymore. Some do, but the majority, I think, are moving out of that mode. and and I've got to get a new phone. My phone, I can't do the videos on my phone because it's outdated. So I gotta get a new phone. And I don't want to bite the bullet and have to pay for it. But
Now,
yeah,
see, that's funny that you said that because I keep getting these upgrade notices on my phone, and so I am a few phones behind as well. Mine's doing fine, but
yeah,
to do the social media stuff and
you need a
the
phone.
cameras and stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, they did some great
You
upgrades
need
on
a you need a phone and you need or a camcorder, one or the other. And so
them.
I've got to do one or the other. My phone is outdated. It's not even getting updates anymore.
Yeah,
So
it's time for new
it's
one
an
now.
Android phone, so and that was a gift to us. Somebody gave it to us, didn't it? She bought it and gave it to us, and because she got tired of watching us with the flip phones.
Hmm.
Ah, okay. Oliver said, "Come on,
Come on, Pastoral Squad.
Pastoral Squad."
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we are. When on Tuesday night we talked about several things, but I started off with us. Our generation, well, every generation is seeing through the eyes of the previous generation. They're seeing life, God, uh, all of that through the way our ancestors looked at it. So a lot of our beliefs were inherited. It
Hmm.
wasn't so much that we made those discoveries and that's what we knew was true. We accepted it because it was passed down to us.
Hmm.
And now we have come to the I call it the voice of reasoning, where we now have formulated our own questions.
Hmm.
Um, I saw this on yesterday. This is weird. This is really weird. But I saw this title or caption on a video on YouTube. I didn't watch it, but I saw this on YouTube yesterday. It says, "What if the God of the Bible is the devil?" And I thought about it. I said, okay, now that sounds extreme, but when you look at the nature, or I should say the things that the Old Testament God did, and even some of the things in the New Testament, it makes you wonder because that God was very cruel
Exactly.
and judgmental, and it doesn't fit the nature of God at all.
Nope.
So
Nope.
I saw that caption, but I said, he might be on to something, whoever he is.
But that's funny that you had that experience because I was watching an episode of one of my favorite shows on yesterday, actually before I was getting ready for my broadcast. And it was funny because the young man was now in college, and of course he came up in a household of what we call of faith, teaching
Yeah.
and preaching about God. And so he had this report to do for a science class. And so he was talking about how science had discovered that, the oldest fossil of man that they discovered was in
Mhm.
Africa and so forth and so on.
Mhm.
And of course, he
Mhm.
gave the name of it. And so his grandmother mentioned something. No, yeah, his grandmother mentioned something about the Bible and about Adam and Eve, and he said, well, according to science, based off of what they mentioned concerning Adam and Eve, they have found something that predates Adam and Eve. That they don't even consider Adam and Eve to be the first. And so I'm watching this show and I'm laughing because, you know, there have been times even when you were sharing concerning the stories that we read, especially in the Old Testament and the wrath of God, and he
Mhm.
was given instructions for the children of Israel to kill all the Amalekites and save none
Mhm.
alive and so forth and so
Mhm.
on. And I thought about that, and I thought about this for years, but I never talked about it because I studied concerning the Nephilim and the sons of Anak and so forth and so on. To me, I honestly believe that a lot of what we've been exposed to in in scripture, again, these are men and women writing basically what they had encountered and
Yeah.
experienced back then. And
Yeah.
again, we have to remember the word God is not a proper name. It is an adjective describing a supreme deity that they can't explain. And so I
Mhm.
believe that there have been several encounters with different entities that
Yes.
they wrote about, but they
Yes.
ascribed the name God to it.
Hmm. Yeah, I believe that too. I think that's absolutely true. And I heard, I think it was Carlton Pearson that says it's not man's, it's not God's, the word of God is man's primitive view of God.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's always, and you, if you go through the scriptures, you'll see where it shows you that man was evolving over the centuries and time that they were evolving. Linda said she checked out Miles Monroe, and I mentioned that on Tuesday night. How that I went back and looked at some of Miles Monroe. You remember him, Norman? Do you
Oh
remember
yeah,
Mr. Monroe?
I have. Matter of fact, Miles Monroe is one of the guys that I thoroughly studied throughout the years. I have
Mhm,
so
mhm.
many of his books. I've watched so many of his videos, and I agree with her 100%. I
Yes,
said that
yeah,
so many times
yeah.
before. He was way ahead of
Yeah,
his time.
yeah, yeah. That's what I mentioned on Tuesday. She checked him out. Yeah, but yeah, he very well was ahead of his time, and I wonder if he was still alive, what he would be teaching now, because he was beginning to teach about social media, and he only social media he knew of was the television.
Hmm.
And so he was talking about how those the media was changing how we view life and how we should do life, and even went into teaching about how to program the subconscious mind and all of that. He was ahead of his time. I wondered, uh and I had the question come up, why did he leave earth as soon as he did? He and
That's
his
a good
wife,
question.
and
Yes.
all of a sudden, it's really a question that I've always had, because he really brought uh that country that he was raised in, he brought that country up a
Hmm.
whole bunch. And even us who were Christian centered, we cut our teeth on him, and he was saying things totally outside the box. And
Hmm.
what was so interesting was that dad prophesied to him when he was with ORU, just in college.
I remember that.
And he was one of the new spirit singers, and he had an afro, bell bottom pants. They came to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and
The Arts Council
at the Arts Council, and you had to speak
for them,
for
for
the
him,
Businessmen's
and they
Fellowship,
invited his team to
and
come.
they invited his team to come, and he ministered
And
to
I
him,
pointed him out. Mhm.
pointed him out, and gave him a whole futuristic panorama of what he was going to be doing. It was
Remember, y'all gave that to me because I was supposed to have been making a trip to the Bahamas that particular year. I think it was 2007, and y'all had
Mhm.
gave me the picture and everything where dad had prophesied to him, and I
Yeah,
was going to
yeah.
supposedly going because I had contacted them, and they had
Mhm.
made arrangements for me to come to the church and so forth. But that was during the same time that I went through the situation that I went through, with
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that. And so
yeah,
we end up not going, but I still yet have that packed away of what y'all handed me to go take it to him and show it
yeah,
to him and so
yeah.
forth. So yeah, I did talk to the people and so forth, but yeah, he was way ahead of his time,
Way ahead, and
just like you guys.
yeah, I would love to know what he's teaching now. If he were here, what he would teach. Oliver says this: transformation is a movement from previous generations' limited awareness. Yes, that's
Mhm.
exactly right. And so but we need our own original relationship with the universe. We
And
need that.
I'm so glad you said that, Mom, because that is the conversation that I've been having with many around here. That, like you said, in the days of old, it was passed down to us from whoever the pastor preacher was, that whatever church we went through. And I'm noticing that a lot of people, yes, they believe what was passed down, but they're not having their own experiences with God Himself. And
Mhm.
so, to me, I believe that's one of the things that's happening in this great awakening, that people are now
Mhm.
coming to the place that they're having their own experiences
Yeah.
to share, with
Yes,
others,
yes,
how
yeah.
the relationship or the interaction that they're having with God and with themselves.
I believe that too. Oliver also says that the Old Testament represents a slaughterhouse. Yes, exactly. It is a slaughterhouse, and they always gave God the credit for it, which I know God had nothing to do with. But the primitive view was if it thundered, God was talking, and if there was an earthquake or a flood or anything, God was angry, and so there had to be sacrifices to this angry God. And
Exactly.
mhm. And
Exactly.
so yeah. But I am glad to see that the entire world is evolving to the point where I think that's where a lot of the upheaval is coming from, because there's being new thoughts infiltrating all of the old beliefs.
Yep. Challenging them. Yep.
Yeah, causing what I call cognitive dissonance. It's
Mhm.
trying to reconcile the truth that you're discovering with that you believed all your life, and
Mhm.
it shakes your foundation. And there's not much permanence in this world right now. So foundations are definitely being shaken. But then that's a prophetic word too, that things are going to
Yes,
be shaken, and everything that could be shook was going to be shook.
it is. That's what's happening now. Everything is
It
being
is.
shaken.
It's a great shaking. It's a
Lit-
great shaking.
The planet itself is being shaken. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm glad you shared that, because again, I did the series concerning open mind, open doors, and it blessed so many people that they were coming, approaching me even in the gym. I didn't know that they saw it and they were sharing with me. But there is a fear, and we talked about that before. An element of fear that I believe is kind of the thing that is igniting all of this chaos, all of this anger, hate,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
violence, and so forth, because man, certain people have closed their mind. They're not willing, they're afraid to open up their mind to the possibilities of something that is greater than what they've been exposed to.
Yeah.
And even in the show that I was watching on yesterday, that was the challenge that the grandmother had. She had a challenge of opening her mind to greater possibilities. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, we know that in the supernatural realm, there is a lot of things that are unexplainable. That, of course,
Yeah.
we have to ascribe to God Himself. And so, but that's what's happening now. I believe, even in our political arena, we're seeing leaders that have such closed minds, and they're stuck
Yeah.
on their own agendas and beliefs without the possibility of welcoming other ideas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because we're creatures of habit. If we feel like something worked, we don't want to let it go. And even though it may not work anymore, it's like we hold on to that, and that's being set in our ways. We've said that so many times, and it's almost automatic. As you age, you start
Mhm.
setting. um and I've noticed that because if it worked for you, you don't see a real need to change it. uh,
Exactly.
I go back, I refer to my mother-in-law so much because she lived to 96, almost a century. And for her, what she experienced at her older age, she really struggled with the changes,
Hmm.
and was not able to really make the transition from a lot of her old beliefs
Mhm.
to change how she did things. And she was adamant about, I'm going to do it this way, this is the way it's
Hmm.
got to be done. And and that made her struggle more, that made her suffer more, because she was unwilling, she couldn't be flexible at that point. And we had to just bear with her, and forbear with her, and allow her to be stuck, and try to help her to in that. But that's almost habitual for us as we age, is to come to a place of, I've done it like this all my life, and this is the way I'm going to continue to do it. Even with ministers, what we're seeing with the church, a lot of them can't make the switch or the shift, because this is what I've been doing all my life, and this is the way it's worked, and this is, and they believe that this is the only right way to do it. And
Hmm.
then you become a dinosaur, and
Yeah.
you get left behind.
And the the odd thing about that whole thing is we if we really, and that's what I've been really focusing on a lot, the ministry of Jesus. Um, that was his biggest challenge, and that's the weirdest thing. Why I don't understand that we are sharing a gospel, we're preaching this gospel concerning the things that Jesus went through. But remember, there was a religious sect who were very educated on their particular doctrine, and Jesus came and tore it to
Tore it
shreds.
up.
He
Hmm.
tore it literally to shreds, to the point that they said he had a devil. And
Yes.
so he was considered a heretic and so forth. And
Hmm.
what baffles me is if we serve a progressive God, and we all are evolving, whether we believe it or not, we
Hmm.
all are evolving. I laugh at myself. I'm at a time now where I'm really laughing at myself because I'm actually have been able to identify that false identity, that when I'm experiencing something that's totally against what it was taught,
Hmm.
I'm noticing it raise its
You,
head.
you're catching it.
I
Yeah.
am literally noticing it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's funny, but to for leaders that is so close minded, I it baffles me that you're teaching about a man, Jesus. We call him Jesus. I
Hmm.
call him Emmanuel. That his number one challenge and fight was with religious leaders,
Yes.
and
Yes.
now you're teaching that. And so what makes us think that the Father is not revealing more to us? Jesus was just the first, if we say the firstborn, or the first one of walking in true awakening or
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
What makes us think that we're in the midst of our evolution, that there won't be ideas or something that we will be revealed to us that would challenge the way that we used to
Yeah.
do things?
Yeah. Yeah. And it has to be that way. I give you a real good example. I saw something today that was really funny, but it was unique. You know how we've always, when babies are real small and you want to potty train them,
Hmm.
back in the day when I came along, there was only these little bitty pots. They call them they're little pots, and they put them in the little chair, and you sat on that chair. That's how you potty trained them.
I
Okay?
remember.
That's what they called them, potty train. That's why it was a pot. And
Mhm.
so, but over the years, they progressed to now where kids have their own little toilet, And then they progress to where they can put things on the original toilet, and the kid can be potty trained there. And today I saw something that was really, really unique. They had candles that you could put down in the commode to help the child understand to put the candles out by peeing on them. So it was a way to get it was a way to get the child to actually go to the bathroom by putting out the candles. And I thought, man, what a brilliant idea, because those kids are gonna pee all over those candles.
But I'm laughing at that, but there's another reason why I'm laughing. And I know Dad that ain't nothing new. That is nothing new. We used to do crazy stuff like that.
We're talking about change, how we've had to think out of the box. Change. And yeah, so that's evolution.
Wow.
That's evolution.
That is funny. That is funny.
Well, they always
said
they said if
glory
you
to
really
glory
want,
indicate.
if you really want to get delivered, go pee outdoors. So
No, not for me. You guys don't have to pull your pants down.
She's nasty. She knows she's nasty. She's nasty.
You don't have to pull your pants down. That's not liberating for
No,
me.
you don't have to either. Just stand right there and let it rip.
No, I do not.
Go ahead and dig a ditch right there where you are. There you go. Ain't nobody out there to mess with you.
On.
Ain't no judgment out there, no heaven or hell. You just go ahead on through it.
Anyway, that's what I saw, and I thought, man, that's very innovative.
That is it, and that's the strangest thing. But I didn't even realize, Mom. I didn't even realize until you said it that they got rid of the parties. I never even thought about that. I remember the little water with the slide the pot in there. And
nowadays,
I remember that.
Nowadays, in the upgrade of potty training, if you smoke pot, you get the habit of smoking pot. You are now potty trained.
That's true. That's true.
That's potty trained. Smoking.
But no, back in the day,
potty trained.
Back in the day, my mom taught me. She said, when you're trying to get the baby to do that and potty train them, she said, turn the water on and let them hear that trickle, and that did help. Mm-hmm. So it's just about evolving and being thinking out of the box.
I had a cousin that went in the bed so much. You know what his mama did to cure it? Cut a hole in the mattress. So when he peed, he just peed right straight through to the floor. That's what he told me on the phone.
Did he sleep in the hole?
They all slept in the room, and she took a knife or something and cut a hole in the mattress all the way through. So if in that spot he laid, he would just go right straight through the floor.
And this is very beneficial information.
It is. Updated 2024.
I'm glad we evolved from that.
I told him, I said, I can't believe you told me that, but he did.
Oh, Lord.
And my brother, my two brothers, if you step in bed with them, you better put a life jacket on.
Yeah. Well, I had a brother.
Because you won't have to swim before you wake up the next morning. I woke up one morning, everybody going out the house. I'm sitting up in the bed wet. They done wet all over me in the sleep at night. I said, huh? See, I didn't do that. I was broke from doing that. I said, I had enough of waking up in the middle of the night cold.
Listen, we got to get back on track. I didn't mean to throw everybody off with that, but I had to mention it. Linda says,
well, you did.
Linda said, I like to think about what Neville said, that the Bible is an allegory.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it's an allegory. The story of the soul personified as the biography of a man. Yeah.
That's good.
That's good, Linda.
Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Had you ever thought that on the cross, we in oneness with Jesus on the cross, when they stuck the sword in him and the nail prints in hand and feet, he lost all of his blood. It all drained out.
Mm-hmm.
But when they put his body in the tomb, his eternal self, like us, traveled into the lower dimension and brought the saints out. It talks about it in the book. Had you ever thought that when Jesus walked on the Emmaus Road, and was seen behind closed doors as they broke bread, that there was no blood in his body.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that caused Jesus' body to exist is the light substance.
Mm-hmm.
He was a light being
Mm-hmm.
that kept himself going, his body going.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, that's the reason why the doctor can pronounce that 6 months or 6 weeks a body's going to die.
Yeah.
What keeps the body going is the light body.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
L-I-G-H-T, light
Mhm.
body.
The light. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something I wanted to bring out because we in the spirit world, when we see our loved ones, they don't have any blood anymore. The
Mm-mm.
blood is gone.
They don't need it.
They don't have to have it.
I
That's
heard
that's
one. Yeah, I heard
that's the
one.
indication of a glorified body. It has no blood because according to the book of Leviticus, the statement is made that life is in the blood. All
Mhm.
right. But see, when Jesus went through what he went through, he showed that there was life much more than in the blood. It
Mhm.
was the spirit itself that was actually keeping these
Yeah.
physical bodies
So when
living.
we
So upon our decision, like he said, he gave up the ghost, but he
Mhm.
gave up the light being. The light being
Yeah.
decided to leave. But what's
Yes.
awesome about Jesus, the light being re-entered,
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
came
took
back in that body and brought it up
possession
to
of that
show
body.
them that it's much more to this than just what we have been exposed to.
Yeah, we were looking at. Of course, he watches near death experience videos all the time. There was one young man he looked at yesterday, who mentioned that he went to the other side, had left his body, and didn't want to come back, but he found himself in a position where they sent him back, and he was spiraling down through a rainbow-like tunnel, he said. And he said as he came back into his body, because his body had been really severely injured, when he came back into his body, he said he experienced such excruciating pain. But he said also what he experienced was the sludge of coming into a meat suit. That's
Mhm.
what he said.
Wow.
Mhm.
It was
Wow.
a meat suit, and he said it just didn't feel or seem right.
Mhm.
It was heavy and it was tight, and it was.
Mhm.
He said it even felt nasty to him
Mhm.
when he first came into his body.
Then there's
So
another lady in an accident. She got broke all up and her chin was torn off. But when she got out of her body, her chin, everything was restored.
mhm,
But she was talking about how painful it is to be in these bodies.
mhm,
So what
mhm.
happens is the light body adjusts to this.
Yes.
But here lately, I have had the experience of the thinning of the veil between this dimension and the light world, the way I've had a chance to communicate in my sleep at night. And when she stopped me last night when I was talking to some people that I knew.
You've been visited by some light beings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They always are there. There's a staff of them. It's a group of them for each one of us. And I've been into a place where I've seen thousands of them in one house with one room. And I was standing on the front porch watching the uh, the eternal line of buses that was connected to the Goodwill buses that was
In the
an
experience, that's what
experience
you
of
saw.
Goodwill buses,
Right.
and all the buses was packed with light beings, light source, and they were getting out of the bus, and the driver of the bus, I knew him when I was a little boy. Theodore Clark was his name, and I saw him as though he had on his bus uniform and his hat, and he was physical in the spirit world, and he was like that, so I could recognize him. But I was standing on the porch with a very, very huge light being, and we were both communicating with everybody in the house without words, but by knowing. And so, as you move on into this, I'm beginning to uh, I'm beginning to receive training about how to work with these light beings and talk to them and communicate with them in my sleep at night. and so they are real. They've been with us many thousand lifetimes, and some of them change shifts, and some of them change appearances. But one thing I have been noticing in the certain areas, you get no older than 25 or 30.
That's true. And I remember years ago, I saw my grandmother on my dad's side who had crossed over. And when she appeared to me, she was very young, like in her
Hmm.
20s.
Hmm.
I didn't recognize her. The only way I could recognize her was by the way she had an apron on and she
Hmm.
fanned that apron,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that's what my grandmother
yeah.
used to do. That was the only way that I
Hmm.
recognized her,
Hmm.
because she was very young.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is another thing is that you begin to understand the abilities of your light body
Mm,
uh, without leaving the body. You're
mhm.
waking up to the First Corinthians 12, but the gifts of the Spirit, which are the abilities of your light body. And
Mhm.
then somewhere, I never know when it's going to happen. You may even, you or others listening, may even get into the training of being mentored as to how to do what Jesus did when he was raised from the dead and came through the door where the
Mhm.
disciples were without opening it. And I had years ago, I had some training in how to walk through walls. Now that's staggering, but open mind can understand these things.
You can't believe that you're a meat suit and walk through a wall.
Meat soup. Isn't that something?
Mhm.
Exactly.
I go to Olive Garden. I want me a meat soup, a meat soup, a bowl of meat soup. Yeah, that's what I
Mhm.
want. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
listened to Eckhart Tolle just a little bit the other day, and he had a really good video on about the cross, and he was mentioning how that we are. And we often say we are God. We are the same essence as God. And we say all of those things that, and like you said, we don't really know what God is. We just say the word God, not really knowing what that is. And collectively, we are God. Individually, I'm not God all by myself, not the unmanifest God, but collectively, we are God. He brought a concept out that really helped me. He said, if he gave the concept of God being as the sun, the same way the sun touches our skin with light and warmth, it's emanating from the sun, it's emanating from the sun, but that touches your hand and the warmth that you feel is not the sun, but it is the sun. And so he said it's the same way we are emanations of God, the unmanifest God, and that unmanifest God does not exist, because in order to exist, it would have to have a locale, it would have to have a form, it would have to have a region, and that therefore God in its unmanifest state does not exist. It is
That's good.
actually unmanifest. So he said the only thing that we can be is emanations from that is already the source of light. And so
Yes.
that makes us light, and we are the light of this world. We are the light. We are the God light coming into this world.
Mhm.
And that we are the emanation of God. So and that really helped me to hear that concept. And it's also like, every cell in our body, it has an individual consciousness. It's able to replicate, it's able to move around and do what it has to do. It's whatever its function, its task is. It does that, and then it dies, and then there are others born. And so it is still one body, but collectively that's that one body. Not one cell being a body, but that one cell has in it everything that the collective has. It's like the ocean, and we're like he also gave the concept of us being like a drop from the ocean. We're the
Mhm.
same as the ocean. We have the same essence, but we can't do what the ocean does
Exactly.
except collectively.
A collective, and I love that. I love that. And mom, that's awesome that you mentioned that concerning, because we are not a one cell. Talking about the physical, we're not a one cell body. We're many cells,
Mm-hmm.
and isn't it amazing? And I love how y'all talk about the meat suit. But isn't it amazing that we are dwelling in something that we even that we don't understand,
Mhm.
that it takes the doctors and physicians
It's
to study
complex.
and stuff. And we
Yeah,
every day we're waking up, we are going on about our business and
yeah,
still not even understand how this works in itself. And
yeah.
so we don't understand that, then think about how much more we don't understand who we really are.
You know, you made me think of this the other day. I don't know who it was. It may have been us talking about uh, different cars and what it takes to make that car run good. I can't remember who we were talking to, but anyway, I started thinking of this body as if it were a machine. And if it is a machine, what kind of fuel does it need that will keep it going at optimal and performance? And so I'm now thinking more so about what I put in my body. What I put in this body, is it going to be something that's going to fuel this body and keep it going, or is it going to be something that's going to cause this body to weaken? And I that's where I am right now. That has really been inspired me to be more health conscious, not so much because I'm trying to be, but because I realize, okay, I want this body to go as long as it'll go.
Exactly.
And in order for that to happen, I've got to give it what it needs. And I
That is
can't keep
correct.
giving it things that will damage it. Because if I
Exactly.
keep giving it stuff that's going to damage it, eventually it's going to break down.
Ma, it's funny because that's the exact same thing that I'm doing. Just this morning after leaving the gym, I started pulling up all the different foods that cause inflammation in joints. And
Sugar,
so
sugar.
I love how you use that as an analogy, because we have to remember these are just vehicles. This is
Yeah,
not who we really are. And so, just like, for example, the car that we get in order for us to know how it functions and operate, of course, we have to study it and we have to know what to do, what right fuel to put in, what oil to put in. And if we do the
mhm.
opposite, then it's going to be a breakdown. It's the
Exactly.
same thing with our physical bodies.
It is.
Exactly.
And it even helped me. That even helped me because, like, in the morning when I first get up, I don't really like to eat. And because I'm not really hungry when I first get up. So a
Me
lot of times I might grab something quick. I might grab a cookie or I might, just grab whatever. And
too.
then, but now when I do that, the thought goes through me. And I know it's spirit, I know it's grace.
Mhm.
The thought goes through me, what is that cookie going to do for my body?
Exactly.
What is it going to fuel my body? Now,
Mhm.
I realize that sugar will give it a burst of energy, but then it's going to need something more substantial because after that sugar's gone, it drops. And
Bye.
so I,
Immediately.
I realize now that this is a machine, a complex machine.
I just sitting here and I was asking myself, I'm making a request known unto myself. I'm asking God, and He said, and I looked at you, He said, rotate tires on car. I
Mhm.
heard that just plain as day. Rotate tires. And then he went on inside. Uh, there's a conversation. It's called God talking to himself and
Mhm,
him talking back to himself.
mhm,
And the request that is made known to God is not done by words, it's done by the state of the
Mhm.
union, the state of the union message.
Mhm.
yeah,
Sound
yeah,
government, but is
it is
the
government.
government
It
God, the
is.
government of God is the stateliness of the union with Christ.
Mhm.
Stateliness of the union.
Mhm.
That's
Well, you make me think about Miles Monroe now because
mhm,
he taught the kingdom.
mhm.
That's what he taught, that Jesus was not an apostle or a prophet, he was a politician. He came
Exactly.
preaching the kingdom and he was the king
I'm
of that kingdom.
gonna tell you something of a mystery. I was looking at YouTube yesterday and I saw a hen and a dog
Oh, Lord, baby.
hooked up
Now, what's the benefit of that?
I'm talking about the mystical side of life. That dog grew up with that rooster, and that dog and that rooster end up getting hooked together.
They had an affair.
Had an affair. They give the chicken dog babies.
No, my God.
Nah,
Somebody
nah,
doctored that.
nah.
I said, I ain't looking at that.
But you did.
I turned it just as quick as I could, and it took a while, but I turned it. And
God.
I'm gonna pull it up.
And why did you bring that in?
I just told you I'm talking about the mystical side
That
of this
is
world.
not mystical.
Yeah, it is. If a
That's
chicken and a dog, they
crazy.
have a dog.
Hey,
dog
that's a lesson of mysticism. I do not want.
You know what?
That hen would have chicken fingers.
Okay.
Now, but anyway,
Anyway.
it was crazy.
You just jumped track.
Now-
I know
now,
that.
listen.
You're trying to bring it back in,
Well,
but
that's
you
all right,
just jumped
that's all right.
track.
I jumped track, but there is awakening in the earth realm, the knowing of facts that are coming up to us out of resurrection information that has been hid from foundations to foundations that we are uncovering. We are ready. We are ready for everything to take place inside of us. And the only thing that could be blocking it is the lie that we're separated from each other and God.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I believe the result of that is everything that's happening now. I mean, we have more going on. Okay, in my lifetime, at one given time that I've ever seen. I mean, there is so much going on with the planet, with man, with emotions, religion. I mean, it is so
Politics,
much
government.
going on at one time.
Yeah, you're right.
And I believe it's creation of the great awakening. I mean, again, creation itself is travailing, waiting for the manifestation of the sons of God. And so everything is out of course because we're not walking in our true identity. And so, and now, Dad, you got the doggone dog and chicken.
I know.
God.
I know.
Hey, look.
I don't want that picture in my head.
Last night, I was in an auditorium meeting.
He's still talking.
Okay, so the planet is out of course right now because those that were set to rule and to govern and to domain, again, we're not operating in our true identity, and that's why everything is out of course.
Well, you know, it appears out of course, but I tell you what I think has happened, Pastor Norman. I think what is happening is that the great correction is taking place.
Exactly.
And so when that correction is happening, there is the dismantling of everything that we thought was going to be permanent.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I talked to 4 light beings in the female gender last night, and she woke me up out of it because I was telling them I came into the meeting in the auditorium in school, and there is a big ego upheaval now taking place in students in school all over the country about PTSD, the conditioning violence that our children are raised up in the street life,
and some because of the shootings in the schools.
And I saw the gathering of light beings. It was 4 in a family, the mother and 3 other children, maybe 4 of them all together, looked just like each other. And I came into the meeting. I wasn't supposed to, but I came in because I had enough of people trying to blame it on just demonic forces and things like that. And it was part of it. The rest of it was that the family, the way these children are brought up in the homes, promotes violence in the schools and in the streets. And I saw the universal discussion of the event in my sleep. And when I said PTSD, she woke me up.
but you're talking about evolution actually, because even in your own thinking, because
Uh-huh.
we would have initially, before, prior to now, would have said
Mhm.
there's a demon involved.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
now we're seeing that there are principles that our families need to live by.
Mhm.
If they would live by those principles, the kids would not have that violent temperamental mode.
It's called conformity customs.
Yep. They've been conditioned to act such a way. And my and you and it goes back again. Because I was even watching something the other day, the evolution that we're experiencing concerning the artificial intelligence, which is becoming so much like man.
That is
Um,
scary, yeah.
yes, and it's very scary. So again, with us being we are probably the most sophisticated machine that has ever been created. All right, because it is it is a machine, a vessel all in itself. And so again, like you said, everything is being corrected because we went so far away from reality that we're creating our own illusions and we're buying into it. And so I believe God is waking us up,
Yeah.
literally waking us up by shaking everything so they could come back into alignment.
Yes.
Another word
Yes.
for it is
Yes.
mutuality dependence.
Mutuality.
Yeah. Uh, there is a camaraderie between conditioned cells that transfers itself in energy on the life conditions of the child to other children to make sure that they are all running together, because the children, the mutual acceptance of these conditioned cells is I want I don't want to be different. I want to be odd. I don't want to stand out. I want to be like everybody else in the upper class of the church or in school, so that we would
In
be,
life.
yeah, their life. And it's communicating with each other on a mutual basis and a universal basis, that I don't want to be ostracized by my
My
cousins, my
peers.
brothers
My
and
peers.
peers.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
peers.
I want to be in the crowd. So that means
Accepted.
accept. That's the word right there.
That's
Accept.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Mom, you said something about the collective earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought about what I experienced this past weekend when we went to the game. Um, it was I mean, when I mean it was, I just didn't have fun. It was part of the awakening, part of a learning, something that I learned. I noticed now, of course, anyone that knows anything about sports, you have your favorite teams and stuff. And so again, we're down in Atlanta. My wife is a big Atlanta Falcon fan. She was born in Georgia, so she loves Atlanta. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. My son drove up that Saturday. He's a big Steeler fan. And so as we're going to the stadium, we left real early because we wanted to get good parking and so forth. We left like 9:30. Game didn't start until 1 o'clock. And so we noticed, here it is. You would think that you would see more people in the Atlanta Falcon colors than in the black and yellow. And so the whole city was covered in black and yellow. Now
Wow.
this is the visitors now.
Yeah.
We outnumbered the Atlanta Falcons probably, like my wife said, 90 to 10, like that,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
But
Wow.
this is the part that blessed me, and I caught it. The stadium is packed.
Mhm.
Everybody is going for their own. So it's funny, me, I'm sitting right here. My wife is a Atlanta Falcon fan, and then this lady who I don't know
Mhm.
sits down. She's a Atlanta Falcon fan, and everybody on her family, a lot of Falcon fan. Now, we are two opposing teams. Fans are rooting for their favorite team. And in spite of all of that, we are having fun with one another.
Mm-hmm.
There is no violence. There is no anger. There is You sit down. I mean, we all laughing at one another,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't even know one another. We first time ever meeting, and I said to myself, "This is it.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is it." Even in our difference, and we don't know one another,
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
enjoying one another. Why can't it be like this
And everything.
in everything?
And everything. Yeah. And there was, it's like you were two opposers, but at the same time, there was a stronger bond there.
Hmm.
And it's strange because you can have differences and celebrate those differences
Exactly.
instead of trying to change the other to be like you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's, I think that is the key, I think,
That's what I'm saying.
to absolute harmony in this world, is coming to a place of not trying to change people,
Mhm.
but celebrating the differences and allowing them to just have their fun with it.
And that's good, Mom, because that is what's causing all the up. We're trying to change us. We won't let people be,
I know.
realizing that everybody has a journey.
I know.
Everybody is
Yeah.
different. We have our own paths and
Yeah.
so forth. But we want to play the role of the supreme God. And
Yeah.
now we
Yeah.
want to judge and we want to interrupt their journeys and their processes and so forth and so on. But think about it. Did anybody interrupt yours?
Right. Right. So
And
it's im-
and
it's
that's it.
im- it's important, I think, that we now we do now see what harmony looks like.
Mhm.
And we in the church, especially in Christian circles, have tried our darndest to have harmony and to bring unity, but we did it trying to be separate and exclusive, and it doesn't work. So that's why, I don't say it a lot, but we should say it every time we come on. We're not here to try to proselytize anybody.
Mhm.
I'm not here to try to disrupt anybody's belief and how they want to believe, how they want to live. None of that is important. All we really want to do is share our own discoveries. And in sharing that discovery, hopefully it will resonate with you and you'll see some of yourself in it. And then it will help you to move forward. So that's I think, dropping that judgment. And what you experienced was the absolute dropping of judgment
Mhm.
in the midst of someone totally unlike you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I
And,
mean, just literally enjoy one another company. I,
mhm,
I mean, it was like this is the way it should be. And
mhm,
so again, watch this now. That is when that false identity of again me being quote unquote a preacher, an apostle, all this, whatever, wanted to raise his ugly head. You know you ain't supposed to be having fun like that. You're a preacher.
ah,
Literally, I heard it loud and clear. I heard it loud and clear. And so, and see, that's what I said. I wish not just leaders, but I am on a campaign for leaders because
yeah.
I know in the midst of the pandemic, I was truly delivered from some stuff.
Mhm,
Um, trying to fulfill perceptions and expectations and opinions of other people,
mhm,
and I'm enjoying me. I
mhm,
never
mhm.
realized how you can enjoy yourself. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I'm experiencing this freedom, and I don't say this arrogantly, but to try to help people understand, I'm at a place now where I am not allowing what people think to be projected on me. I'm trying to not say I don't care, but
Right.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
but I'm experiencing a freedom where I'm enjoying myself and
Mhm.
for the sake of Christian understanding and still yet saved, born again, filled with
Yeah.
the Holy Ghost,
Yeah.
loving God.
As
Hello.
Larry Reed says, you still Bible paper Bible saved.
Exactly.
But yeah, and Eckhart Tolle calls it your essential identity. You've
Mhm.
come to your essential identity and realize that there has never been the shackles and control that you thought you had on you from God, that was never there. But we shackled ourselves in believing that God didn't want us to partake of certain things. Didn't When we went Thanksgiving, I went to the ABC store because I always, when I invite my family over, some of them drink. They don't get drunk, sloppy drunk, and fall down, but I give them a drink. So I went to get them some things to drink, and we went in the ABC store. And while we were there, there's this guy that you had met prior,
At the cheap place.
and he when he saw him, he yelled out, "Hey, preacher!" He said, "Hey,
sure
preacher!
did.
Hey,
What
preacher!"
you do? What you doing in here?
And I was standing there with the
He
3 or 4 bottles of whiskey in my arm in a bag inside the place. Oh Lord!
And when we got out, he said, "I wonder why he had to say preacher." But that was a part of what you're saying, of coming to a place where not caring about whether people approve of you or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much like you don't care. You're not looking for that approval anymore. You're not looking for the validation.
Exactly.
And it's okay if they think that. That's okay if they want.
I mean, I'll go to the liquor store just to see how pretty the bottles are.
But look, the thing about it was the man that said it wasn't judging him.
No, he wasn't.
He
No.
that's how he
You identify him
all
Yeah,
the time, everywhere. So
acknowledge him.
it was just funny. It was just so funny.
But you know, it's sad, Mom, because again, from the time I was exposed to church, religion, or whatever, why is that still yet such a big topic of dealing with alcohol? I'm like, it's still a crazy when it literally lets us know. Gee, that was the first. I mean, isn't it amazing? The first miracle that is recorded, he turned water into wine.
Well, not only that, they called him a wine bibber because he hung out with people who drank.
Exactly.
But and I think it's because, Norman, I think it's because in the church we have tried to really, really hard tried to control what people do for fear of them going too far, and trying to build into them morality. But our morality is not supposed to come from rules and regulation. It's supposed to come from spirit changing our hearts. And if you take a drink, you don't have this drive to get drunk and fall down.
Exactly.
You might take a drink just for social reasons or to relax, but not to get sloppy drunk and shoot up a house, and not to get all your inhibitions out that you've been holding, suppressing all your life. Not for those reasons. The spirit and grace is supposed to bring the heart. And then I remember there's a scripture that says the love of God constrains us.
Exactly.
So morality doesn't come from following rules and regulations. It comes from having a love of God in your heart that has changed you, and you have no excess drive to prove anything.
Exactly.
Or to relieve anything.
Just said that last night. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, Linda says the brotherhood is the real game. The brotherhood is real. The game is fluff, and focusing on the real. And that's what you did. You saw that in your event. Yeah. That's good.
So I bought them boys of some kind of Tennessee whiskey, and it was 100 proof something I put in there, and they didn't never, because somehow a little bird must have told them not to drink none of that stuff.
They drunk very little.
Very little. Usually they just sit down with the moonshine and apple Tennessee and all that.
They drank
but
very
I told
little.
them I don't drink it. But
in fact, when they got ready to go, we gave them the bottle.
Gave one old Tennessee bottle.
Yeah.
I told him he owed me a bottle back. But I just I was raised up in the moonshine, and it says this: Every Sunday or somewhere on a Saturday, they bring up that Jesus drunk wine.
Oh yeah, that was the debate.
The first thing somebody said, yeah, but it wasn't fermented. But I say,
that's what they say.
It wasn't fermented. It was Kool-Aid.
But I'll tell you what. Now,
it was fermented.
When he had the flu, the best drink for him during that flu, and occasionally we'll have that at night, is a toddy. We'll call it a hot toddy.
Yeah. Yes, familiar with it.
It's ginger tea, honey, lemon, and sometimes I'll use chamomile in it, and a little a cinnamon stick, and a little about 3 or 4 tablespoons of Hennessy, or your favorite alcohol, and all it does is relax you, brings warmth to your body, and it actually causes you to get better faster.
Exactly.
When the doctor begins to give me instructions as to how to take my medicine, I said, "Can I drink a fifth of moonshine with it?" Mr. Sawyer. Then Mr. Sawyer me then. I said, well, I went to my gynecologist and she told me it was okay.
Oh my Lord.
I know they really said, no, you cannot drink no more.
Look, my mother-in-law, when she went to the doctor, he was an older doctor, and he told her, said, just get you some gin and tonic. And said that'll help you sleep at night.
Oh, she liked it. She liked it.
She never did do it though. She never did do it.
But when he told her not to drink any more Cokes and Pepsis, she choked up. She said,
I know.
But now see, that's funny because now, and that's the point I wanted to make. Okay, we're judging someone drinking the alcohol, not getting drunk. They just drinking, like you said, socially, whatever, and stuff. But then we know that Coke, Pepsi, all of that, because I used to work for the company, it's not good for your, especially not your kidneys stuff. And we don't want to judge them.
Right. Well, you know, my mother-in-law,
we pick and choose, and we put degrees.
We mess with people. We mess with people. And my mother-in-law ate hamburger and drank Cokes all her life. Didn't have one bit of high blood pressure, no high cholesterol, no diabetes. She was only thing she had trouble with was her knees, and she developed this diverticulitis. That was the only thing that happened to her. If she didn't have that diverticulitis, she'd probably be still going.
Yeah, and she don't mind telling you how to get off and how to get on too.
So I figured what she did for her complex machine is she ate what she wanted, which was a hamburger, and she didn't put a whole lot on it, just the meat itself, and drank the Coke, and it actually dissolved the grease.
And she cooked biscuits, but you have to eat them soon as they come out the stove. Because if you didn't, you throw them outdoors. They lay out there for about a month.
And I tell you what else she did. She would always eat fruit, and she would always eat fresh vegetables. She loved fresh vegetables.
She did.
And she didn't want canned vegetables. She didn't want frozen. She wanted fresh, and that's what she ate.
And she liked chitlins.
Yeah, she did like.
I went to Bojangles and asked him for a neck bone sandwich and a chitlin sandwich, and the girl said, "Oh, what?" I said, haven't you ever heard of chitlins and neck bone? No. The young generation don't learn about that kind of stuff.
Oh, they ain't from the South, then. They ain't from the South. They don't know nothing about that.
They used to Wendy's and hamburgers and hot dogs.
Look, we've been on here over an hour talking crazy talk. But look, I've enjoyed it. We've had a good conversation. And I know Linda's tried to jump in a few times, but we had our own conversation today. I don't even know if Oliver's still here. He might be still here.
Creation is already perfect.
But you know, as being pastors, we're beginning to see life differently, and I think that's our whole conversation pretty much on these impromptus. We're seeing life differently. We're living life differently. And he said this morning we were out. He said, we ought to go take dancing lessons. I said, yeah, we got to get our backs and knees healed first.
That's funny. I said, I've been saying the same thing.
Yeah,
I have.
Do the jitterbug.
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
said, look, let's go take some dancing lessons. Let's
Yeah.
go have fun, enjoy your
fun.
life.
Have
I
some
might
fun.
get a catch on one of them turns, but wait till I get thrown out, then I'll come back again.
Have some fun and enjoy life.
Exactly.
Look, life is too short not to enjoy it, so you better go ahead and do that.
Exactly.
And trust yourself. See, I know that we can trust ourselves because we love God. And we love that love will constrain us. We won't go too far. In moderation, everything in moderation. Yeah. But anyway, have fun, Pastor Norman.
Yeah, man.
Y'all do the same.
Take off here, Linda, if you're still here.
Linda, and
we might have run everybody
Dolly.
off today. I don't know. We
Yes.
had our own thing going. But anyway,
you guys have a rest of the 2 days in the weekend. Happy time, and keep your nose clean, your britches on. Don't take no wooden nickels.
Yeah.
All righty.
Definitely.
Not even a penny with a hole in it.
Yes.
Anyway, we're gonna see you guys next time. I don't know what is next Thursday. What's it fall on?
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday. That's the 15th.
Hold on for one moment. Y'all go ahead. I'll be right back.
Where you
Somebody
going?
knocking on my door. Somebody knocking on my door.
Well, look,
but we're gonna take off here.
We're gonna end the broadcast.
Okay.
But I gotta talk to y'all.
Yeah, okay. See you later. Bye, Miss Linda.
Guys. Bye,
Little
Miss Linda and Oliver.
Oliver Lee, and all you little Lindas.
If you're still here, we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.